Scoreline. We are back, and of course, right now I am joined by Munya Maraire, who is the CEO of Worldwide Scholarships. Mr. Munya, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us here at the studio today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my first time in Kenya. I'm so excited to be here, and we've got some great things that we want to do as Worldwide Scholarships with the region of East Africa. And again, thanks so much for having me on with you.
Of course, you're welcome, and we are hoping that this experience gets to add up as one of your favorite experiences right here in Kenya.
One thing I do know is that my name, Munya, which I thought I was the only one, is a big name in Kenya.
It actually is. Like
for me, that's like, I'm not Kenyan, so other Munyas from Kenya don't get confused. I am the original Munya, though my full name is Munya Radzi, but it's Munya Maraire, and I'm excited to be here. The only Munya from Kenya.
Of course, you've heard from the only Munya, as he puts it. Now, let's just get right into it. Tell us a bit about the Worldwide Scholarships.
So Worldwide Scholarships was started 20 years ago now. This is our 20th year, 2021. And we're excited because the objective of Worldwide Scholarships was to link talented individuals with university as well as developmental scholarship and other opportunities to develop across the world. So we've got a global network of relationships that ranges between all the way from the AC Milan scouting network all the way through to university scholarships at the best universities in the world, Harvard, Yale, etc. We are those representatives.
And of course, we're talking about sports here. Do you have any specific points of focus, or what sports are we talking about? So
we primarily focus on the Olympic sports. So, but obviously, Africa has its way of expressing itself in sports. So we're definitely focusing now on soccer, athletics, basketball, field hockey, tennis. These are some of the sports that we're working with. I'm very excited personally because I believe that Kenya has been exposed in line with the talent from the Maasai tribe. I believe that the Maasai tribe has got people that will become the next Michael Jordans or Kobe Bryants in basketball, but no one has actually gone there and taken them to play basketball because people are growing tall naturally and they can jump, because it's cultural, right? So this, to me, is something that I think we're going to explore, and as Worldwide Scholarships, we are known across the continent as being the first movers on most of the initiatives. So this is another thing that we're going to be excited about to bring to Kenya.
Talking about the time of operation, 10 years is quite a lot. How successful have you been?
20 years.
20 years, sorry.
Look, we've raised over $50 million worth of scholarship opportunities for youngsters from all across the continent. We have thousands of testimonies. We are yet to have somebody break into the Premiership League or into Serie A or into the NBA. And I believe that as we expand our net in terms of looking for talented individuals, that these are some of the things that are going to happen. So that's why I'm in East Africa. We've got a great team of people on the ground. Macharia Gachago is our country and regional director here. And I can tell you that just from what I've seen so far, remember, we didn't actually really come here for that. I was on holiday and I realized that, wow, this place has got talent. I'm seeing kids, tall kids walking everywhere. So I called my management team and I said, we need to open a regional office here because there's people here that have got a lot of talent, untapped, and I can see it because obviously I come from a professional background myself, as being one of the first Africans to have tried out for the NFL in American football, and as a professional athlete as well. So very excited about what's happening here. I'm not a long distance runner, so I'm the Munya who doesn't run long distance. So I'm very excited about what Kenya has to offer and what East Africa has to offer as well.
Talking about the immense talent that you have seen on the ground, kindly take us through the process by which you scout and eventually hand over some of the scholarships.
So we've got a very interesting initiative which we started about 8 years ago, covered on Supersport and some of the world's top publications. It's called the WWS Scout Camp. So as Worldwide Scholarships, what we do is we bring international scouts from all the different initiatives or the top. So in December now we did one. You may have seen it on SuperSport, where we brought the former president of the NBA's testing. He was with us, Mr. Jesse Wright. We also had Rich Gardner, who's a former NFL player, American football. And we started American football on the African continent actually now in December, bringing the opportunities, because obviously we feel that African athletes are big and strong, and that's what you need. And if you play rugby, well, it's an easy transference of skill set. So this is how we like to identify in a normal situation, where we'll put together a scout camp, and we're going to do one in Kenya on the 3rd and the 4th of April, where we're going to bring all these international scouts, including some from the AC Milan network, and we're going to see which kind of talented youngsters have the opportunities, have the talent to link into the opportunities that we have. That's on a professional side. So I'm speaking to soccer players. If there are soccer players out here, don't get in touch with Macharia, and it's very important that they get their talent seen. But then with the scholarships, obviously now someone who doesn't make it at a professional but also has a great academic level can go ahead and link in with academic, and then with the academics use their sports to pay for their education.
And since we're talking about youngsters, what are the specific age groups that you are targeting? So
I don't like to talk about target ages, but the range would range between 13 years old all the way up until 21 years old. Because obviously a 13-year-old, when they're still developing, we can send them on developmental initiatives all around the world, where they can train and develop. And then by the time of the 17, 18-year age, that's when they can start getting university scholarships. But they're still obviously, especially when I speak on the football side, and you've got kids who can gain opportunities to some of the academies in Europe that we're in contact with and in partnership with, where a youngster can actually become a professional player in soccer at a younger age, so between the ages of 16 all the way up until 18 years old.
And that takes us to a very critical point, and that is sporting talent when it's still young, it's still raw. And you find that a lot is being done, and also this is one of the efforts that has been put towards ensuring that young athletes out here are sported. But you find that most of the time, parents do not get the point of exposing their children to sports and whatnot at a young age. Just kindly, Father, enunciate on why exactly they have to focus on the young age groups.
You know, I think in Africa we have been brainwashed into thinking that just going to school is the only career path. But I tell you, a youngster who makes it to play for Manchester United is a multi-millionaire and a superstar across the world at the age of 18 going upwards. Now, to the parents that are watching, it's not only about the finances, but surely if your child is making a few million euros, he can pay for his own education to go to university when he's done, right? You know, and I think all of us are going to school so that we can sustain our families. So I think as even we're some of the champions in terms of the rhetoric that goes here, in terms of teaching families that sports is a viable career path. And if your child has been identified by institutions like ourselves, Worldwide Scholarships, you know that you're on the right path with your child to be able to do something with their sporting talent. And I think that this is something that we need to instill in our communities as well as instill into our cultures, that sport. And that's why I'm very excited about the Maasai tribe, because guys are just jumping. They don't even know that, yo, this is what you need to do to train to be good at jumping and basketball. And they're doing it naturally, which for me is an exciting angle to some of the things that we're doing.
Now, we're talking about a number of sports. In Kenya, for example, Kenya is big on athletics. We have rugby, among other sports. How do you ensure that you strike a balance, considering there are some other sports like American football, which have been in existence, but are still yet to get out there full-blown as compared to the likes of rugby and athletics? So,
rugby, American football, as you mentioned, is a very easy transference for the rugby players, and we've got the right people, the best in the world, that will be here, and they'll come and they will identify who has the right skills, and who can move those skills into the next level. In South Africa in December, we took some of the Super Rugby players now, and they are now making the transference. So this year, they'll have the opportunity. You'll see some of them maybe in the NFL or in the European League playing for some teams, and they came obviously through the platform that we provided. Other sports that don't get the kind of limelight that they deserve, I believe that through the initiatives that we're bringing to East Africa, that we're going to be able to help those sports, if not gain funding from some of our partners, but at the same time also get the opportunity to be able to be exposed to the opportunities.
Taking you back a bit, talking about worldwide scholarships and going by the name, what is that motivated you as an individual to embark on this mission?
So when I was a youngster, and you know, I'm from Zimbabwe originally, and I was the national champion in the 400-meter hurdles. And I remember there was a youngster who was running against me in the 400-meter hurdles, and he had no shoes on. I was a private school boy, you know, silver spoon child. So, you know, I had more benefits than some of the other individuals. So for me, what always struck me from that race is I was the national champ, but I actually dipped at the line in order to win against a guy who I knew in my head and in my heart had never received the kind of coaching that I had from the schools that I went to. So for me, it just made me know that I could not celebrate the victory of being a national champion, ever. I mean, and I never want to tell that story, because I know the real national champion was the kid who came from, you know, a slum or one of the disadvantaged communities, that all he needed was the platform, the development. Maybe sometimes it's just as simple as, hey, give a kid three meals a day and some shoes, and he's a champion. Because in Africa, we don't have the distractions that American and British kids have, where they're playing computer games and PlayStation and those kind of things. We don't have that here. You know, a kid is herding the cattle, or is working in the garden, or is at school, or is running to school, or you know what I mean? This is fantastic for us. And this is the stuff that we need to push in terms of our initiative, and in terms of just educating people that opportunities are here.
Now, talking about grassroots football, I mean, there's a lot that can be done in the grassroots area to make sure that sports grows out of its boundaries. What do you do specifically to do with the grassroots regions, considering I'm sure most of those who get exposed to the scholarships are these established institutions?
So I think from a grassroots level, the most important thing is development. So as I mentioned before, we're in partnership with the Lombardia Uno Group, which is the AC Milan Central Technical Academy out of Milan. And for a soccer player, the opportunity is, hey, go across, or we bring them here to train coaches. Because I think coaches, a lot of people take away the limelight from the coaches, but the coach is the person that empowers talent. And the more we can do to empower a coach to understand what they need to be doing at each stage of a child's development, very important. Because if you start teaching an 18-year-old what they should have been doing when they were 13, when they go for a trial, or if they try to expose their talent, they're not ready. So that's why, I mean, we need to follow models like what has been happening with your athletics. And I think that's where Kenya has done phenomenal. I'll tell you a little story. When David Rudisha was 18 years old, I was the first person he came to help him get an opportunity. And I had sponsored the African Junior Championships that year. And this is many years ago. And I was excited to see where he has gone himself with his talent, and what he's doing as an ambassador for Kenya, and just for the culture in itself. And, you know, I think more needs to be done at the grassroots, but it's got to be in coach development.
And so far, what can you say about the coaching system from the grounds that you have covered as an organization?
When you say the grounds, we're here in East Africa, across the continent, yeah. It's the same. Look, we all know. You go everywhere, anyone, talk to anyone, everybody knows that there is talent in Africa. We all know. In East Africa, you've shown it through the running, because there's not much resources needed to run. You run and you shoes on, and that's it. So you haven't really had a lot of pain put on any system because of that. But now when you get into sports like American football, which are heavy on equipment, those kind of resources, facilities, you know, that's the kind of sports that you can see are not developing at the levels that they should be because of just resources. All right. So when I look at going across in terms of coaching, it's very important that we look at the end result. How many African players are playing in the English Premiership League? How many players are playing for the Serie A, you know? And we know that Africa's got talent. So it shows us that obviously the developmental plan is not in place. How many Usain Bolts do we have? You know, so that shows you that the guys that are developing talent need to be assisted so that they understand. Talent is here. We can throw a stone. I said this in another interview. Throw a stone in any direction, in any slum, any area in Africa, you hit someone with talent. Even you, if it hits you, you're going to get a scholarship maybe one day.
You mentioned that these children also, especially those who are in school, need to be good in their education. If that is not the case, what do you do to ensure that they're still eligible to such scholarships?
So what is pretty interesting is that there's different levels of universities. I mean, if you're looking at the Harvards and Yales of this world, or Penn States of this world, where I went to university, those are very difficult institutions to get in based on academic credentials, right? But if you look at other universities, some have lower academic credentials needed. And we all know that the sports people are always the ones who are struggling at class. So you know what I'm talking about. So there are so many different levels of universities, from junior colleges to prep schools to, and we have a network of over 2,000 institutions that work with us on a daily basis with our staff, looking for opportunities, presenting opportunities to us that we can actually help youngsters with.
Now, you mentioned about having a camp in Kenya. Tell us a bit more about that.
So the WWS Scout Camp would bring international coaches as well as scouts to Kenya. We're looking at the dates of April 3 and 4. That's that Easter weekend. And the objective is to bring talented youngsters from schools, and I challenge the schools network to really collaborate with us, help us to find the best kids in their schools, because they know. Everyone knows who the fastest, who the tallest, in their school is. And we want to rely on information like that so that these kids come out to the scout camp. It'll be in American football and rugby, so the rugby players will have the opportunity to either get rugby opportunities in South Africa, where we have a very strong presence with the Super Rugby teams, or if they're good in American football, they can get an opportunity to go to Europe or to the United States. On the soccer side, there's opportunities for USA scholarships for kids in university, and there's also the option for youngsters to go through to Italy, where we've got very strong partnerships and relationships for them to link up with professional clubs and academies in Europe. Then we've got basketball. Basketball, obviously, the United States and Europe are our areas where we would link people up with either university or professional level opportunities.
Do you have a number that you'll be looking forward to, or it's an open invite to those who are willing to jump on board?
So I believe there should never be a number. I think that it should be about talent. You know, talent needs to prove itself. And I believe on the continent we haven't done enough to have just the talent make it. Because there really isn't a number, to be honest. If there's 10 strikers and they all are good enough for Manchester United will take all 10 and they'll loan out 9 and keep 1. So it's never a number. So we just inspire parents and families. Sports is something where you can make a life for yourself. And we're not only giving people opportunities in sports, we are in arts, and we're also in academics. But obviously, because I'm the sportsman, I'm the CEO, everyone thinks, worldwide scholarships is about sports only, but that's really not the case at all. So for that mother who's sitting at the television now and says, no, my child is not going to play sport, we also have academic opportunities in arts as well.
Now, this is a prospect, of course. You had the camp in South Africa. How successful was that? Were there any challenges in the process?
So I think that one of our challenges was rain. It rained one of the days out, so the soccer players had a bit of a challenge with the rain. Okay, so that really that affected them. In terms of talent, We had about over 300 kids that participated in the event, and what was exciting is out of those 300, we chose about 38 children that would get university scholarships, and also either scholarships or some are going to Milan. We actually had a kid from Kenya who came all the way down for our camp. Yes, he did, and he did well. And we're actually going to be helping him to go to for an academy training session in Milan. He's going to go to Italy, and if that doesn't work out, we're going to help him get a university opportunity in the United States.
Of course, seeing as to you encountered the challenges, what did you identify that you need to work on to strengthen on your side as you head into the camp in Kenya?
Look, I think we're very pedantic from the beginning. So when it comes to what we have to improve, I think we've done a really good job because we bring the best. We bring AC Milan guys out on the soccer. They come from Italia Culture Coaching through the Lombardia Uno group, which is the best coaches in the world. From American football, we brought one of the former NFL players. So in terms of the personnel that was making sure things happen, NBA, I brought the president of the NBA's testing and whatever. So in terms of that, I think we hit it on the head. I think what we need to learn now is probably, in terms of improvement, is we need to bring it more to the different countries and regions. I'm still trying to figure out how we can get to every single African country. And this is our initiative now, is to obviously go from region to region at first and then to expand into the different countries, because it's difficult. I believe there's talent in every country. That the only issue that has stopped some kids from making is just coaching or just exposure or just sometimes equipment. That's it.
And what do you have to say to all athletes out here, listening to you, watching you?
I think all athletes, if you have a dream, you really need to go for it. And parents, please support these youngsters because they have an opportunity to make not only an impact on their communities, but also an impact on you as a family. I mean, there's some kids that will come from a disadvantaged background that are going to be able to change the history and the whole rhetoric and story of their family moving forward. So that would be my inspiration to families and to athletes. As Worldwide Scholarships, we officially open on the 22nd of January. We're going to do our launch event. I hope you guys are there as well. And after that, it's A and away. Come to our offices at Vienna Court and talk to us. Let's see how we can empower you and link you with opportunities. We've got more opportunities than we do have people at this stage.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm the only Munya.
As you've heard, that is Munya Maraire, the CEO of the scholarships. That is the Worldwide Scholarships. Thank you so much for your time and all the best in your ventures. Of course, we're looking forward to the camp in Kenya, and we will follow up with you how it goes for all these children out here.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Now, moving on to the English Premier League, Matthews Pereira scored twice from the spot as West Bromwich Albion recorded their first win under Sam Allardyce, beating Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-2.